and Jai Hind, ma'am. So first of all, welcome, ma'am, to this majestic stage of Sunbeam, Varuna. We seek your permission to begin with this interview.
Let's begin. Good morning and Jai Hind to all of you. Please begin.
So, ma'am, my first question is, ma'am, you've had a dynamic journey navigating your way through getting your education to actually becoming an educator. Ma'am, what are the experiences, memories, or moments that you think have led you on to this path?
So that's a very broad question about me being obviously being a student like all of you all, and then moving on to be an educator. So I think what actually got me into this profession, as I usually tell a lot of teachers, because many teachers also remember become teachers coincidentally, I don't want to say unfortunately, coincidentally, become teachers by chance, not by choice. And it is unfortunate also, because somehow when we talk to children about careers, and people hardly ever talk about careers in education. Okay, that's very unfortunate in our country. So like many others, it's very unfortunate. Coincidentally, I also came into this profession more by chance, by choice. But then, once you get into this profession, and that was true even for me, and that's true for a lot of your teachers, a lot of your admins, okay? Once you get into this profession, there is something that really pulls you in. Compared to all of the other professions, you know that you're handling not only human lives, but you're handling very tender human lives. Children who are still getting nurtured, they're in their formative years, they're still building their nature, character, their traits, their skills, their competencies. So it's very important for each one of us to be very truthful to our job, to work hard, to connect with the students, for all of us as leaders in education to connect with the teachers, to connect with the parents and everyone. So I think basically it's a lot of honesty of work that and I think a focus that kept me going. And whichever way I must have come into this profession, I always knew that I don't have any shortcut to success, and I really have to honestly work hard to make a difference in children's lives.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm sure everyone over here has learned a lot from this experience. Ma'am, my next question is, success stories have been told since the start of time, but failures are not much acknowledged by the society. Ma'am, can you please walk us through any setbacks which you have faced, but you have moved forward?
So, I'll just think whether there was any such particular failure I want to mention, because there have been many. Failures are a part of growth. So let me just give you even an example of yesterday. For example, I wouldn't take it as a failure, but it's a learning. We've just completed with framing the National Credit Framework, which I was talking to class 10 when I was taking around. Today I'll be coming to a few more classes. So we were talking about the National Credit Framework. We were supposed to frame it, we are supposed to frame it by CBSE class 6 on our own, and that work has been done. Soon it will come to the children, it will come to the parents. And so we are at the stage of making it and sending it for feedback to all the principals of the group and had a discussion on this. Now, the fact is that even yesterday, when I put up the slides and I was taking the meeting with all the principals on Zoom, there were so many things that people were giving as a feedback. Now it depends on how you term it. I can term it as a failure in making, my slides, or forget the slides, making my concept of National Credit Framework. Even, there could be so many other things. So it's how you see failure. I never use the word failure at all. It's all about learning. And every day, you fail in something, if you want to use that term, but you learn from that and you move ahead. So I think the most important thing is failure is not a failure because you still get up and move on. So actually, it's just learning.
Number two, if you don't approach an adverse situation, keep your cool in that, learn from it, come up stronger, take people's feedback, move on in a more successful way on that, I don't think you're a true human being, because failure is all about learning. And I think adversity quotient is something that we should be teaching all our children. Unfortunately, that's not there in children anymore. Failure becomes such a big thing. Even not getting enough of likes on social media becomes such a big thing with children today. And actually it is even with adults today, let me tell you. It impacts everyone. You put up something and you feel, oh, why haven't people noticed me till now? Nobody bothers. Even if they notice you, they actually don't notice you. So look for success stories, look for events, I would say, look for experiences in real life. In that, there can be setbacks, learn to live with it, get up, move on, get strong.
I completely resonate with you on that, ma'am. So just a follow-up question. Do you think technology does more good than harm or more harm than good?
So there is nothing like it does good or it does harm. It's the way you use it. If you use it for the wrong purpose, obviously it does harm, which has got nothing to do with technology. Anything you use for a wrong purpose, it's wrong, it's bad. Technology has really changed lives. It's improved lives. It's changed the way people look at a lot of things. Even in education, there's so much of pervasiveness of technology. We're using a lot, but I don't think we're using as much as we should. We're still learning as teachers. We're slowly getting in technology. It all depends. That is why we do a lot of digital citizenship. And I hope that the Chetna syllabus, you follow it well. Teachers have been talking to you about digital citizenship. And also not getting addicted to a device. Because the harm comes when you don't know how to handle yourself. If social media becomes the only way that you feel you will succeed, or you'll get friends, or you will be visible, it's wrong. But if you enjoy doing a little bit of social media, because you learn from it. I do a lot of social media, let me tell you. I do a lot of social media. I look at Facebook, I'm on Insta, I'm on Twitter, I tweet, I'm on X, formerly what? X was Twitter. Oh, that is the tweeting. No, there's one more thing. I use LinkedIn. 4. I use all 4. I post, okay? But I make it a point I don't get sucked in. I also make it a point that I like channels, I like sites, I like people in education, and I always learn. In fact, there are lots and lots of links I send to the principals every day because I see how games are done for KG section. I see that there's something new being done somewhere in some part of the world, and I send it to them, something nice to follow, something nice to use in your class. So if I wouldn't be on social media, I probably wouldn't know what's happening in a good school in the US. I don't know. So I have to use technology. But how do I use it? So if you're getting sucked in, and if you're using technology in the wrong way, if social media is sucking you in for the wrong thing, it's wrong, it's harmful. But if you use it in the right way, and if you have control over yourself, it's good.
Of course, ma'am, we'll make sure that we use it and not misuse it. Now, the next question I have for you is a rather cliched one, but everyone has their own dialect of it, and we'd love to hear your version. So, what gets you up in the morning every day, and what are you the most grateful for?
So, what wakes me up in the morning is I have to pull myself up a little sometimes. I get up early in the morning and I do my yoga. But I enjoy it. At the end of the day, it's just like you get lazy, like everybody does. Even I at times get lazy and say, oh, I wish my trainer wouldn't come. But she manages to come, and I'm up and I'm there for yoga. So that's what, puts me up, moves me up. I do get a little bit of me time after that. I do sip on my cup of coffee. I read newspaper. I do a lot of social media at that time. Check whatever has dropped from different people. My mails. I check if there's anything that's come late in the evening. I respond to people. I make a lot of missed calls early in the morning. I don't want to disturb people because I know that they are getting ready to come to school, but I leave a missed call, tell them to get back to me whenever it's time. Discuss a lot of things early in the morning. What is my creative time or whatever word you use? Well, I listen to a lot of music, I walk. That's my most creative time, and that's the time I also get connected to different members in the team. If a new idea strikes, I immediately give them the task and tell them to get back to me in 2-3 days so that the work gets accomplished.
Of course, ma'am, those are crucial things. So now, lately, with our new venture of Sunbeam International Varuna, we as students wonder as to how you feel being a trailblazer of this institution which went from local to national to international. And ma'am, what advice do you have for all of us who are inspiring to cross the borders of dreams and follow in the footsteps of Pratibha Di, Ishan Bhaiya, Janvi and more?
So, when it comes to the international school, we've been thinking about an international board for some time. We thought for quite some time that probably Varanasi is not yet ready for it. Then we thought, I think the time has come. There are a lot of parents who have been asking for an international board. And we also thought that if anybody has to take this first step in Varanasi, it has to be Sunbeam. And obviously there would be other schools following, which is fine because everything spreads. We are after all not the only CBSE school in the city. So why will there not be other international schools in the city? They will come and that's perfectly alright. But we need to be the ones who need to actually take the first step. So we decided to open an international school where the style of teaching is a little different, where we also knew that it's not going to be an easy journey because we have to sit down and convince people for which we have to learn a lot on our own. And there will be parents who will be asking us all kind of questions and we have to convince them, that's our job. So the journey hasn't been easy, but the journey has been quite satisfying. And the kind of response we saw in the first year was very satisfying. And the response that we see from children from all over the city, even this year, has been very, very satisfying. And I'm very convinced that maybe in the next 2-3 years, SID will have no place for children to get accommodated the way things are going. That's one. When it comes to crossing borders, international school is not just to cross borders, okay? International school gives you an option of crossing borders or staying in India. Similarly, a CBSE school also gives you an option of crossing borders and staying in India. As you mentioned quite a few names, Janvi, Ishan, all of them are from a true blue CBSE school and have, either crossed borders or done very well for themselves wherever they are. Right? So, Janvi, I remember, went to Japan. Ishan, I don't remember now, but of course I should remember Ishan very well, also traveled abroad. So they went for AFS exchange programs. Some of them are studying abroad today, alright? Many of the children of Sunbeam are also studying abroad. So I think that you should consider the globe to be your world. You shouldn't just be thinking local, national. Your thought should be open to traveling wherever you need to in this world to study or to even pick up a job. These boundaries have been etched by us. We are the ones we feel that this is my life. Your life is more. Your area of influence actually is far more. So if you feel that you want to go abroad to study, you should. Let me give you an example. Yeah, okay. So I have my own nephew who was a very good student. He was studying at Sunbeam, another true blue CBSE Sunbeam child, and intelligent, wanted to do IIT, and when he, actually couldn't take, very intelligent, but couldn't take the pressure of coaching and things like that. And so there was a time when he was kind of bogging down. So I had to hold his hand. When I say hold his hand, I don't mean physically. And tell him, I think you're making a mistake. You're so intelligent that I don't think that you should be going to IIT. You should be aiming to go abroad, because actually there are places abroad which have got a higher ranking than IIT, but the pressure to get admission is lesser, you don't even realize it. So why don't you open your eyes and look at places abroad? I took him to the counselor. The counselor spoke to him. He was for years together an ardent quizzer, so had already built a great profile for himself ever since he was a kid. And he only quizzed. He didn't really get into 30,000 things, but he stuck to one and was a national level quizzer. Did very well. Is studying today, final year, is graduating in May from Purdue, is on the dean's list from the first day he entered till the time he's going to be passing out. His job prospects are higher than any IITians, okay? His salary will be higher than any IITians, but he couldn't manage IIT. So it's all about the journey that you take. You think this is the end of the world. It's not. The world is far wider. Have you traveled your thoughts to actually conquer areas which are wider than where you are locally? That's the bigger thing. So when I tell Manju ma'am, or I used to tell earlier, things have changed a little now, that let's go in for career counseling for the science children. They used to tell me, and even parents and even children today will say, oh, but I've already decided to get into IIT. Oh, really? Is that the end of the story? Are you sure you'll get into IIT? That doesn't mean that you're not good. You can be damn good and yet not get into IIT. Okay? Fine. Even if you get into IIT, do you know how many engineering courses are there? What is the next best step that you could take? Which are the different IITs offering which course? What is the best? So I'm not telling you don't take up science. I am not telling you don't dream of becoming an engineer. Of course you should if that's your wish. But in that field, do you know everything? You need counseling for that. So I'm glad that Manju ma'am and the teachers and the principal ma'am have been talking to you, because I can see a slight difference, but I'm hoping to see a bigger difference this year. Science students, whether engineering or medical, must come up and do counseling, because wider and bigger doors will open for you, and frankly, maybe cheaper doors will open for you, and maybe better doors will open for you. If you don't know, you can't achieve the best in your life. Maybe what you managed to achieve, you could have done better. So I am only trying to say, every child should open doors to counseling, to talking. Then you take your own choice. You have the right to take your own choice. But it should not be a very limited choice. It should be more. I don't know whether I've gone beyond what I had to say, but I thought I would like to speak about this to the children.
Of course, ma'am. We'll make sure that we keep our horizons expanded. Now it's time for the most fun part of an interview, which is the rapid fire round. So are you ready for it, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Amazing. Let's start with it in 3, 2, 1.
I'm a little scared of your questions. Yes.
Ma'am, 3 habits that you want Sunbeams to inculcate.
3 habits. Hard work, honesty, high in character.
Your favorite Bengali delicacy?
Bengali delicacy. Oh, why did you ask Bengali? Okay, my favorite, if you say Bengali, yes, I like Bengali food coming from Kolkata. Let me think. It would positively be prawns. Actually, it's supposed to be Malai prawns, yeah. I eat it less because I don't want to put on any more weight than I already have on my body. Yes.
Books or movies?
I think a good mix of the two. I never used to watch so many movies, but I watch it now with OTT, and I'm very particular about what I watch. And there have been some very good docu-series. I watch a lot of good docu-series, and yes, I read books.
Ma'am, if books, then what is your favorite book of all time? And if movies, then what do you like the most in movies?
So, when it comes to book, my favorite all-time, even today, remains My Gita. Devdutt Pattanaik is one of my favorite authors, even now. And for movie, I can't say what this is been, because sometimes I also watch some nice Bollywood movies and they can be very inspirational. Otherwise, it's usually docu-series. For example, right now, I am watching The Testament of Moses, which is up on Netflix. I think it's very, I had seen the 10 Commandments of Moses when I was a baby, but I wanted to watch Moses once again from the Old Testament, yes.
Your occupation, if you had been an educator?
Lawyer.
Ma'am, your biggest pet peeve?
My biggest pet peeve is when it comes to the students. So frankly, I don't think I have anything much with the Sunbeam children, because I think they're still very, very nice. I've traveled the world over and seen children. I think they're very respectful. But when I see children knowingly, some children don't know, so you have to excuse them, you have to tell them, that's our job. Knowingly being disobedient, that's something I can't tolerate.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Now, favorite city which is not in India?
My favorite city which is not in India would positively be Istanbul.
Teacher's favorite or backbencher?
Sorry, teacher's favorite or?
Or backbencher?
Oh, teacher's favorite, right there.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your time with us. And to end this interview on an optimistic note, I would request you to please share a few words with the eager audience.
They are already bored with so many words from my end, so they must be wondering when is this going to end. But the only thing I want to tell all of you all, each one of you all are very smart. You believe in yourself. And there's one more thing I don't want anybody ever to be a victim of. Nobody should be able to tell you you don't look nice, or there's any kind of body shaming, or don't believe in yourself, except for a few people like your parents, your teachers, who may sit you down and talk to you about certain things that you can improve in yourself because they care for you. Let not the world ever tell you that you can't do it, because believe in yourself and you can actually touch the skies. You can do it is something that you must always believe. No should not be a part of your dictionary.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was indeed very fruitful to have you amongst us. But now it's time for the branch to take over, and I request you to please stay on stage for a very special occasion.